Hello students, let us continue our discussion over the syllabus and book list for English Honours Semester 1 dedicated to University of Kalyani. Now in my last lecture or last discussion rather, I have made some discussions on or some clarifications regarding the structure of English this particular honours course and also the question pattern etc, the other things that is needed. Hope you have taken a look of this particular video and it will be helpful for you. So now let us think about or let us consider the two core courses that are in your syllabus for English Honours, specifically for English Honours. You see that as I mentioned in my last lecture that there are two major sections. The first one is considered as the detailed text and the second section is considered as the non-detailed text. As you can see that each of the papers you have CC-1 that is theory 1 and CC that is core course theory 2. It will be named as the European classical literature. So here you will find that it is CCT1 that is core course theory 1 and this particular paper is named as Indian classical literature. Actually you know that this particular kind of syllabus that Kalyani University has taken, this particular syllabus has some say 80% similarities with the other universities. Okay, actually today when CBCS has been implemented, this particular course has been implemented, these have been in these texts have been implemented, or this particular syllabus has been implemented throughout India, as you can see. So the similarity is always there. Now what happens that the section actually begins with the classical part. You see that when we think of the classical literature, we find that there are some Eastern classical literature, as we know it is Sanskrit obviously, and there is also the Western classical literature, that is obviously the Western part, that is European part. Okay, probably you have heard of the Western texts like Iliad and Odyssey and Ovid's Metamorphoses and also the other sections. So these will be coming from in your second paper, that is CCT2 paper, okay, and it is named as the European Classical Literature. Now to be specific, for CCT1 that is core course theory 1 that is named as Indian Classical Literature, as you can see here that there are two detailed texts that have been taken for consideration. Okay, as I mentioned in my last lecture that if it is the detailed text, that means you must go through lines, okay, or in between lines. You have to read in between lines. That means line by line reading is obviously needed for here. Why? Just because the 2 marks as objective questions will come from this particular section. So you must go through the text carefully. Okay. Obviously, I'm not making any particular assertion that you must not go for the texts for the non-detailed sections. It is not so. But when it is the matter with the detailed texts, you have to go through the lines, obviously. And as you can see here, the two particular texts that have been selected by the university for Indian classical literature. The first one is the Mahabharata. Probably I know that there is nothing to be introduced regarding Mahabharata. And what happens, as we know, that regarding Mahabharata, we find that the actual form of Mahabharata was written in Sanskrit, and as we are reading in English honors, so ultimately we must go for a translated version of Mahabharata. And as you can see here, university has mentioned, specifically mentioned, that which particular translated work we should follow. Remember, don't try to buy any other book except this one, because this particular book is considered as the textbook for you. So whenever you will buy the textbook, you must buy this particular one, that is the translated and edited by J.A.B. Van Buitenen, and this will come in the Worldview edition. So that is the dedicated textbook that have been selected for you. As you can find here that the main writer, the actual author of this particular text, that is the Mahabharata, is Vyasa. Okay, as we know, it's Vyasdev. And these are the sections, actually the names that have been given here, as you can see, that is dicing and the sequel to dicing. These are the sections, as you can identify from your actual text. Okay, and the last one, that is the Book of Effort. So these 3 sections, some dedicated sections are there. These 3 sections, these are in your syllabus. Okay, actually what happens, you know, that in the Mahabharata there are multiple sections. We all know that. And it is not possible for you to cover the whole epic all at once. So there are 3 sections that have been selected for you just for reading properly. Okay. So again, I repeat that please buy this book only, that is Worldview edition. The second book that have been selected, or the second text that has been selected for your detailed text under this group, it is a particular Tamil writing, and the name of the book is Silapatikaram or Chilapatikaram. You see, what happens that it is a kind of an epic also, and it is considered as the Tamil epic. So whenever you will read this particular text, you will find the particular form of culture, the particular kind of lifestyle, or basic orientation to the anthropological history of Tamils. All these will be taken for consideration. But it is an epic, and it was written far long ago, and ultimately we will find that the basic structure of the epic poetry all will be followed by this particular one. It was written by Ilango Atikal, and the particular section that is in your syllabus, it is the Book of Vansi section, and it is coming in Chilapatikaram. And when you will find, as we cannot read the Tamil literature here, rather we will go for the translated version of this particular text. And therefore we have the Tale of an Anklet, and it is the book 3. It is translated by R. Parthasarathi, and it falls under the publication of Penguin. Okay, this is the publication, Penguin publication. So the first one is Worldview publication, and the second one is obviously Penguin publication. So if you have to go for the text, try to identify this one. But ultimately, I should mention here that there is another book, that is Book of Vansi, and it will be what I am mentioning here, it is the Penguin edition. It comprises of the whole textbook, that is the Silapatikaram in total. But as you have the Book of Vansi, one particular chapter, so you can go for the Worldview edition of this particular book, and the name of the book is the Book of Vansi. There you will find the same text is being incorporated, and also some notes and essays are there. So it is better for you to go for the Book of Vansi, this particular book, that is under the Worldview edition. Okay, it was published also by the Worldview edition. So go for that book instead of Penguin. Okay, so these are the detailed texts that fall under the group of the CC-1, that is the Indian classical literature. Now let us think about the Indian classical literature non-detailed texts. So what are the non-detailed texts? The first one, probably you have heard of this particular name, and it is Kalidasa's Ovigyana Sakuntalam. You have heard this name, obviously. And as I mentioned, that this particular text was in Sanskrit, so we cannot read Sanskrit in this particular form. And now we have to read for the translated version of this particular text. Okay, and that it is translated by, as the syllabus actually shows, that the translated version, one particular translation is dedicated for you, and it is translated by Chandra Rajan, and the name of the book is Kalidasha, the Loom of Time, and it is the Penguin publication. Okay, so from here you will find the 10 marks question will come from Silapatikaram, that is Book of Vansi, and also from the Mahabharata section. You will find that the questions of 2 marks and 5 marks question will come, and from this particular section you will find the 10 marks question will come. Now what happens, that the second text in this particular group, it is Mrichakatika. You have heard of the name, obviously. It was written by Sudraka. Okay, and the particular reference of this particular text that have been mentioned in the syllabus, okay, dedicated to Kolkata University or University of Kolkata, it is translated by M. Ramachandra Kale. Okay, and you will obviously buy a particular book by the Worldview edition, right? Because this actually shows you multiple essays and also the documents along with the texts that are very important for you regarding the reading of this particular text. The last one, that is again you will find there is a repetition of the Mahabharata. Okay, so what happens, that this particular section is the Book of the Assembly Hall and the Temptation of Karna from book 5. the book of effort in the Mahabharata, obviously. And this is the particular section. It is named as worldview publication, again, as I mentioned earlier. So what happens, that in a worldview publication of this, the Mahabharata, you will get some sections are for detailed section, and some sections are for non-detailed. So from the non-detailed section, the 10 marks question will come. From the detailed section, 2 marks and 5 marks question will come. So ultimately, you have got the 4 major books. Again, I repeat, the first one is Mahabharata. You must buy the Worldview edition book. The second one is Shilapatikaram. You have the Book of Vansi, again the Worldview edition. The third one, Mritchakatika, it is the non-detailed section. And again, you have to buy the Worldview edition book. And the fourth one, that is Avijnana Sakuntalam. For this particular section, you must go for the Penguin publication book. Okay, so this is the section for CC-1 regarding question pattern, regarding time. Everything has been already discussed in my last lecture, and in my next lecture I will go for the CC-2, that is European Classical Literature. Stay attached. Hope it will help you certainly. Thank you.